I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
Here's the give. Walker! Get it, Walker! Touchdown! Spotty! Hello, New York! I'll see you in a minute!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Quincyville Sports. I know you guys like the Smash intro. That's kind of a nice little tradition we have every year. I do the Smash intro with the teams that are the final contenders for the college football playoff list. If you're on that list, then you have a chance to make the playoff, and good luck to your respective team. It's time for more college football picks. Good week last week. Let's start with the changes to the... I already did a video ranting about the college football playoff rankings, so I'm not going to talk about that now. I'll give you my personal rankings. So, who in my top 10 lost? Michigan lost, and I think they were the only team that lost. Oh, and Ole Miss lost. Ole Miss was also in the top 10. They fell out. So, new to the top 10 is Notre Dame, Michigan State in my top 10. Notre Dame and undefeated Wake Forest. Watch out, they're making a run for the ACC title. Don't overlook them. Wake Forest, they're looking good. Obviously, at number 1, I still have Georgia. They haven't moved from number 1 since the preseason. I picked them to win it all in the preseason. Everyone told me how stupid I was. Look who's stupid now. At number 2, I have Michigan State. I have them leapfrogging Cincinnati. I think their win against Michigan's a little bit better than Cincinnati's win against Notre Dame. And Cincinnati's been just a little sleepwalking through some teams. I don't think it's really anything to worry about in terms of Cincinnati losing. In terms of them making the playoff, maybe. So I'll put Cincinnati at 3. I finally put Oregon back ahead of Ohio State. I had Oregon ahead of Ohio State for a while. Then I put Ohio State above. But now I think Oregon's looking like they're playing better. They destroyed a bad Colorado team, whereas Ohio State struggled a lot with a bad Penn State team. And they rushed the field after winning by 9. That's unacceptable. Michigan State fans didn't rush the field, though. I figured they would. It was weird. Alabama at 6. I think Oregon and Ohio State are better than them, or at least they've looked better than them. I think Oregon has a better win, and I think Ohio State's looked a little bit better than Alabama has. Oklahoma at 7. They're the least impressive undefeated team I've seen. I'm not even lying when I say that. Michigan at 8, and then Wake Forest and Notre Dame. So that's the top 10. Last week, not a great week. 15-9. Overall, we're doing good. 170-62. I mean, I'll take that. But let's get into the picks for this week. Missouri going on the road to face Georgia. It's going to be a long day for you, Missouri. Sorry, it just is. Georgia's favored by 38.5. I wouldn't bet on this game. I don't like betting on games with enormous spreads. I'm sorry, I don't bet at all, but I wouldn't want to bet on games with enormous spreads. I don't actually bet. But I would be cautious with betting with a game with that big of a spread. Ohio State, Nebraska, same thing I said for Georgia. Or same thing I said for Missouri. Applies to Nebraska. You're in for a long day. Ohio State's gonna beat you blind. I'm sorry, that's just what's gonna happen. Wake Forest and UNC. Wake Forest undefeated, ranked in the top 10. UNC 500, 4-4 they're at, but yet they are favored. At home against Wake Forest. I think this is going to be a close, competitive game. You just never know what North Carolina team you're looking at, and I wouldn't bet against Wake Forest right now. I mean, they haven't beaten the greatest teams, but they found a way to win. And take Wake Forest. Hugh Freeze. Man, what a joke. This Bible-thumping idiot bringing hookers to his apartment at Ole Miss and buying players. Man, what a clown. Well, he returns to Oxford to play Ole Miss. This is a fun game. Two cancerous coaches going up against one another. Malik Willis, number 1 quarterback in the upcoming draft class. We'll see how he does for Liberty. I think Ole Miss will win. Minnesota, don't look now, ladies and gentlemen. But PJ Fleck has his Minnesota Golden Gophers at 6-2. Their only losses of the season were the first week against Ohio State. They barely lost, a close game, and to Bowling Green. How they lost to Bowling Green, the world may never know. Same thing with Pitt and Western Michigan. The world may never know how y'all lost, but haven't lost since then. They play a bad Illinois team. If Minnesota wins out, they're going to Indianapolis for the Big Ten Championship. They should be able to beat. They should be able to beat Illinois. Pitt and Duke. Duke is terrible. Pitt should win. They had a bad loss to Miami. Pitt should still be able to win. Cincinnati and Tulsa. Now, people are upset that College Game Day is going to this game because it's going to be a blowout. Tulsa's 3-5, and Cincinnati's the second, third best team in the nation. Here's why. So, with Cincinnati having this good of a season and being ranked this high, they want to go to Cincinnati. Game Day wants to go to Cincinnati. And they were going to go and they played SMU because it's going to be an undefeated ranked matchup. Well, SMU lost to Houston. So, they're like, well, we'll just go to Cincinnati now because the SMU-Houston week is when Ohio State plays Michigan State, I think. Don't quote me on that. And they're like, well, we're going to want to go to Ohio State, Michigan State. So let's go to Cincinnati now, since there aren't that many other good games this week. Cincinnati's going to win, though. Notre Dame and Navy. Notre Dame keeps rolling, looking good. They should be able to win against Navy. It was Navy 1-6. They should be able to beat them. Oklahoma State and West Virginia. Now, Oklahoma State and Baylor are both in hot pursuit of Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a bye this week. They're both in hot pursuit of Oklahoma for that Big 12 crown. Now, both of these teams, Oklahoma and West Virginia, they both will play Oklahoma at home. I think it's going to be tough for Oklahoma to win both those games, but they're going to need to keep winning against other teams, not just Oklahoma. And I think they'll both be able to get wins against West Virginia and TCU. TCU fired Gary Patterson, they mutually agreed to part ways, which means he got fired. But that guy was there for forever. Gary Patterson has led them to some really good seasons. I'm surprised he got canned. Baylor and Oklahoma State should be able to win, though. You might be thinking, well, who's BYU playing? I don't recognize that team. Idaho is one of the worst teams. They were somehow in the power in Division I. They were the worst Division I team you'd ever seen. So they got knocked down to FCS. Now they're one of the worst FCS teams. But you might be thinking, what team could possibly be worse than Idaho? I think we found it. The team that plays in a home stadium with rainbow seats. Idaho State. They are 1-7, one of the worst teams in the FCS. BYU is going to kill them. I mean, I know every team gets a cupcake, but this is the most cupcake of cupcakes. This is a big cupcake game. Wisconsin to Rutgers. Man, Rutgers looked kind of promising to start the year. Not anymore. Wisconsin should be able to beat you. Wisconsin's looking a lot better. Mississippi State and Arkansas. Mississippi State is ranked. People are upset about them being ranked. They have some good wins. I don't have a problem with them being ranked. Maybe not as high as they are, but I think they have the most amount of ranked wins. They beat A&M, Kentucky, and they beat another ranked team. I can't remember who, though. I think Arkansas will beat them, though. Arkansas is looking for another big win at home. I think they're going to get this one. Florida State and NC State. I think NC State, I think they might be one of the better. They're one of the better teams in the ACC. Man, y'all also lost to Miami, though. Man, Miami couldn't beat the broadside of a barn. You know, they somehow beat Pitt and NC State did. Alabama, LSU. Alabama should win big. LSU. I know Uncle Lou already said this, but win one for the Gipper. Win one for Coach O. It's not going to be this game. And Alabama's going to beat you. Tennessee, Kentucky. Taking an upset. Give me Tennessee. Kentucky has looked less than impressive in recent memory. Just lost to Mississippi State. feel like Tennessee has some good momentum going here. I think they're going to find a way to pull through and get a win against their rival. Give me Tennessee. Iowa, Northwestern. Northwestern's, they might be the worst team in the Big Ten. They're the worst team in the Big Ten. Iowa, I know they've lost 2 in a row. It's been rough for them, but they should be able to beat Northwestern. Boise State and Fresno State. I'll take Fresno. Big win against San Diego State. I didn't think they'd win that game, but they were able to get that win. IU and Michigan. Man. Oh, I actually got accepted into IU today. You guys know I'm applying to IU in Texas. Haven't heard back from Texas yet, but IU did accept me, so might be going there if I don't get into Texas. But I went and saw IU play. They're terrible. They're going to get killed. San Diego State and Hawaii. Hawaii's not going to be able to keep up. I did pick Hawaii over Fresno State. I did take Hawaii over Fresno State. And they did beat them. 18-point underdogs and they won, but I don't think it's going to happen against San Diego State. Big rivalry game here. UTSA, Texas San Antonio, and UTEP, Texas El Paso. Both support really good teams this year. UTSA is 8-0, somehow not ranked in the playoff rankings. I don't know how. They're 8-0 and not ranked. But UTEP, they support a very good team too. They're 6-2, respectable team. Rivalry game at the Sun Bowl at 9:15 p.m. Central Time. You might want to stay up for this one. It's going to be a good game. I'm going to take UTSA in a back-and-forth showdown. It's going to be a really good game. I'm excited to watch this one. Big rivalry. I think San Antonio is going to win, though. Army and Air Force. Take Air Force in a low-scoring affair. All right, feature games. Oregon, ranked in the top 4. If they win out, they'll get into the playoff. They have that advantage over Ohio State. As long as them and Ohio State have the same record, or the same amount of losses, they will be ahead of Ohio State. That's good news to hear if you're an Oregon fan, that they're actually respecting that game y'all won. But you guys still need to go out and take care of business. A Washington team that's been up and down, mostly down this year. Had the bad loss to Montana, but they're 4-4. Their first 2 games they lost to Montana, and then obviously got killed by Michigan. But they're 4-2 since then. Respectable team, an upset-minded Husky team at home. This is going to be a really, really close game, in my opinion. Don't sleep on Washington. I think they'll cover the spread. What is the spread for this game? What is this? I need to see what the spread is for this game. I don't know how large it's going to be. Let's take a look. The spread for this game is Oregon -7. It'll be close. I think it's going to be an offensive shootout. I think Oregon has enough in the end, though, for the win. I'm not sure if I would take Oregon plus the points. I don't know. It'd be a tough one. And now, Auburn and Texas A&M. Now, this game's important. I went through my huge spiel about how I think Auburn, both these teams, believe it or not, can still win the SEC West. Alabama has not mathematically clinched the SEC West. If Auburn beats Alabama, then they are going to the SEC Championship. But if A&M wins this game and Auburn beats Alabama, then A&M is going to the SEC Championship because A&M already beat Alabama. So this game is for whoever has that upper leg on Alabama going into the last week of the season. How A&M lost to what's their names? How they lost to who they lose to? They lost to Arkansas and Mississippi State. Man, inquiring minds want to know how they lost both those games. I don't know how, but they've looked like a train ever since then, obviously beating Alabama and looking really good against some lackluster SEC opponents. Auburn also looking really good. They beat the aforementioned Arkansas on the road. That was a really good win for them. And then they went out and they beat... Who'd they beat? They beat... Oh my God. They beat Ole Miss. Texas A&M still yet to play Ole Miss. Texas A&M should beat Ole Miss. But this is going to be a really good game, in my opinion. It's going to come down to the wire. I think it's going to be the running game of Texas A&M that's going to get them this win. I think Texas A&M's defense can also get to Bo Nix a little bit. They've got some really good pass rushers. I think A&M's going to be too much at home for Auburn to handle. What's the spread on this game? The spread is A&M -4.5. I'm not sure if I would lay that, but at home in front of the 12th man, they're going to get a dub. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Interesting week of college football coming up ahead of us. I'll see y'all next time.